the Cerebral Entertainment Podcast.
But yeah. Nowadays, you can find CNN all the time, Fox News, MSNBC. You can see these constant news stories, just 24-hour news cycle. Just you can turn on anytime you want to and be fed that, which is not really so much about news nowadays as it is about commentary. And depending on which side you're on, you can go root for your team and live in that echo chamber or whatever. But anyway, the January 6th didn't really capture my attention. I had to take a step back and wonder why. So first of all, was it because that I am so apathetic toward anything that has to do with the government nowadays? Probably has something to do with it, right? I have trouble caring, and it's because there's so much. I don't know what to believe anymore, so I don't really believe in hardly anything. We've had that conversation before on this show, and so it's just easy for me just to tune it out, I guess. And also, I wonder, if it were something, if the people, if it was a different crowd of people, like for instance, let's say this was a group of Muslim people who overran the Capitol and did the same thing, would that have caught my attention more? What do you think? Like, would you have paid more attention to that?
I guess to really try to find out what the reasoning. I guess maybe. Yeah, probably.
Okay. Would it have seemed more like insidious or like dangerous, more of a threat if it wouldn't have been the people? Because I know you're like me in this vein, not Trump supporters, not like we're not Trumpsters, Yeah. We were open to see how things went for the first time around. You got to see the circus. Okay, well, that's what that is. So let's move on. But at the same time, not really, like we don't really land politically on either side of that. So what if it were somebody different? I think because it was white people, right? At least a majority, everybody that I've seen was white. They were Trump supporters. They went in. They kind of made a mockery of the whole thing of like going into people's offices, and you had that dude with his face painted with no shirt on. I think his chest was painted too, and
like he was out of the Patriot movie.
Yeah, he did. So it looked like a goof to me, I think. But what if it would have been people that didn't look like me, being a white male? Would I have paid more attention to it? So basically what I'm doing here is an exercise to try to check my own bias. And I was wondering if you could kind of give any insight as to what you would think as well. I know it's hard to think about it because it is what it is, but
it makes sense though. I mean, because I don't want to use the word different, but they are, like, if it was a different culture of people that was doing it, they are different from us, which would make, it seems like it would make it more newsworthy or like more of, I don't know. I feel like any way that I try to paint this, it's going to make me sound bad and I don't want to.
I know, it's like a landmine.
Yeah. So I'm just going to say, yes, I would probably pay attention to it more if it was. Yes.
And I think that's an honest answer from you. And I know it's a landmine, trying to like say the right thing without being offensive.
Yeah.
Because we're not offensive. Like you and I land on the same page on this once again. We don't try to like have explicit biases or anything like that. I abhor racism, and I don't really have an agenda per se when it comes to liberal or conservative, Democrat, Republican. It's like I feel like I kind of land in my own little spot, and that's how it should be.
Mm-hmm.
I have different views, and some land over on the left, some land over on the right. It's just kind of the way that I am, and I'm okay with that.
I still feel like more people should be that way too, though. I mean, I feel like people would get along a lot better if people were the way that we claim to be.
I agree. Yep, I agree.
But,
if you're, yeah, I was just gonna say on that note though, like if you are like, if you're pro-life, okay, and then if you are also for government insurance, whatever, socialized insurance, like Obamacare, whatever, then okay, and you can be both at the same time. Second Amendment, you think guns are a right, yeah, okay, and you can do that, and you can also be like, yeah, I want to protect the environment. I have some green ideas. I think we should all not pollute and take care. Okay. But that's not the way that everything works.
You're not
It's
even you're
all
not
so
even a
polarized.
person. There's no way that you can be for all of those things. That doesn't make any sense.
I know, right? It's like some kind of a mutant.
Yeah.
Get burned at the stake. Anyway, that whole thing, and I just kind of wanted to ask you about whether or not you think we would pay more attention. I do. I think I would pay a lot more attention, and not on purpose. I think it's just an implicit thing when it's somebody like, I know a lot of Democrats, liberals, they thought that January 6th thing was just horrible. It was like, and they still talk about like, oh my gosh, can you imagine the gall of those people? They should all be imprisoned and burned at the stake. And I
Do
was
you
like, really?
think-
Was it really that big of a deal? And I had to check myself, like, why don't I think it's that big of a deal?
This is probably another question that's hard to answer, but do you think that if it was a different culture of people that was doing it, that a lot more would be imprisoned than what happened?
Also, a good question, because I've heard people say, if that would have been African American folks, there'd been a lot more people shot by the police.
Mm-hmm.
Is that true? Yeah, I hate to think so, but is it? I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
want to say either way, but it's a good question to ponder, right? Because it makes you think.